Gosh, it can be a little bit tough doing the Oliver twist and asking for more sometimes, can't it? Particularly in tough economic times. Please, sir, could I have some more? Not just talking about finances, but how to have those tough conversations with the boss about perhaps changing your terms and conditions of work, busting open the employment contract and saying, well, what if things were like this instead of that? How to have those conversations with confidence in a way which perhaps increases your odds of getting a positive answer. To the rescue, like the superhero that he is, Tom O'Neill from cv.co.nz. Tom, kia ora, good morning. Nice to see you again.
Morning, my friend. Great to be back on the show.
Now, we've talked before about tough conversations that we might have in an interview situation, but we're literally turning the tables. Can get a little bit awkward. And also, I suppose in the back of our minds, we may think, if I don't get a yes on this, if the boss pushes back and says, no, we can't do that at the moment, will this actually create problems for me? Will my boss think less of me, think, oh, there's that greedy so-and-so, or they're a bit of a slacker because they want to do less hours at work or whatever? Will it have a negative impact on our work environment? I suppose the broader question is, well, not if he's a good boss or they're a good boss, but it's still a tricky conversation to have, right?
Oh, look, absolutely. And to be honest, with all the redundancies that are taking
Yeah.
place in the public sector at the moment, it is a tricky time. Do you really want to rock the boat?
Hmm.
How much do you need your conditions changed right now
Yeah.
if the person to the left and right of you have suddenly vaporized?
Yeah.
So it is a very, very tricky conversation to have, but a good conversation to have. Don't get me wrong. We'll come
Hmm.
back to that soon. But yeah, it's about to some degree deciding, is this the best time? And if so, okay, cool. How do I approach it?
Now, recently we were talking about terms and conditions of work and the possibility of working from home and the pros and cons of that. Not just about that, but including that. Having a conversation about saying, what would it look like if I did some of my 40 hours a week at the office? Or another conversation might be, what if I dropped down to point 0.9 or point 0.8 and did 9 days a fortnight or 4 days a week? Actually, in the current climate, that may be good news for the boss because you'll be on slightly less salary. It may actually improve productivity.
Well, this is very, very true. I mean, it's how we approach the boss.
Yep.
And if we're coming to the whole "I want to work, 4 days a week" sort of deal,
Hmm.
okay, well, that's one way. But if it's like, "Hey, look, I appreciate things are tough. An option is for me, if you like, to work 4 days a week. Would that help?" So you're coming across in a
Hmm.
in a really positive way, trying to help the organisation. Now, the boss would never bring that up to you directly
Yeah.
because it's to some degree breach of, of course, the contract. But if you breach it up in the context of, look, appreciate things may be tough, but let's say in an industry where things are pretty hard,
Yep.
it could be seen as someone who's got the best interest of the organisation at heart.
And I suppose if you're giving options in this regard, if you're saying, hey, could we look at either this or that? Could we look at either working from home a couple of days a week or maybe just doing 4 days a week and dropping my salary accordingly, giving the boss some agency that they're able to make the choice. You can be strategic as to which one of those choices you would like the boss to choose, but at least it starts a conversation, I suppose.
And that's really the thing, really starting the conversation in a respectful and positive way. I really think one of the things you really need to bed in that conversation right at the start is you're committed to the organisation long term.
Okay.
This is not an exit strategy. This
Hmm.
is not a, look, I've had enough here. I want to
Do
change.
this or else, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. This is, I'm committed to ABC company.
Hmm.
Really believe in the vision and what we do, and really love the team. This is what I'm putting forward.
Yep.
And when we do that in a respectful and positive way, it can make a huge, huge difference to how it's received.
Mm. Now, results may vary, of course.
Hey, yeah, there's
It does depend on the boss. It depends on the industry and what sort of other things that they're juggling. Important to take it at face value. You're asking a question, you get an answer. If it's not
Yeah.
the answer that you wanted, you still want to have the motivation to stick around and do your best in that workplace, right?
Look, absolutely. See, the thing is, it's about coming to them with good pragmatic reasons. It's not, I just can't be, stuffed anymore, or you know what I mean. Yeah, you want to give some good reasons, and even numeric data support your offer.
Mhm.
You may find that actually you're managing to get through your work in, 38 hours, not 40, and whatever it is,
Yeah.
and there may be a way or in terms of achievements you've had recently.
Mhm.
Look, I've done all these great things and done all this cool stuff, and that's great. And so you can trade off the back of that for some leverage.
Yeah.
But it's also important to be okay with not winning yet.
Mhm.
If it's a no, look, try and take that positively and understand that. Hey, look, maybe when things are better, we can play the long game.
Mm.
Um,
I mean,
just be having that conversation in a respectful way is only going to create as long as you can talk about how you're committed to the company
yeah.
long term,
Yeah.
employees want that. They want to know where you're coming from. And if you can make sure part of that messaging is I'm here for good,
Mm.
great.
And hey, how you respond to a less than ideal response from your boss talking about playing the long game beforehand, that if you demonstrate loyalty, even if you don't get things your own way, you're more likely to be seen in a more favourable light when circumstances change or perhaps other opportunities come up, right?
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. It's if you can again frame it in a really positive way, they can just say, yeah, new opportunities come up,
Hmm.
and we had this big, positive, respectful conversation. That's only gonna be a positive.
Yeah.
There are some dangers of asking. Let's be honest. The good
Yep.
news is you can't be fired. Your
Okay.
boss can't go. Oh well, okay, out you go.
Yep.
I mean that's illegal, but it can show potentially that you're unhappy
Hmm.
in the organisation or in the role. Now, again, that's why it's important to make sure they realize that the reason you want a change of conditions is for external reasons. Maybe a new baby
Yep.
or, now it's empty nest or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And don't forget, changes of conditions, maybe less or more hours,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I just want to make sure you're not giving that vibe of I'm unhappy here and either this or. One thing to remember, it could also impact further training opportunities or promotions.
Okay.
If you're so let's say you're wanting to go from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, and
Hmm.
you're next in line for the management role. That may well play a major part when they're looking for that new manager in 2 months' time.
Yep.
That this person decided to step back. So that could be a major issue, and also conferences. Let's
Mm.
say send you Andrew to Brazil for the radio presenters conference.
Cool.
Suddenly it's like, well, actually he's only doing 4 days a week now, so maybe I'll send Jemima.
Yeah.
You know,
Jemima works harder than me anyway, whoever she is. Uh, but, but no,
he's saying this live.
I think it's important to recognise that there are potential costs to it, and that even as we were saying beforehand, even working from home, there's lots of benefits in some ways, but you do have less cohesion within your team. You do have less sort of social connection with your other co-workers, and there is some negative aspects to that which we might not realise up front. But hey, you don't know if you don't ask. If you don't ask, you don't get, I suppose.
Yeah.
Having the courage to have that conversation, perhaps take some notes, perhaps pray. Well, definitely pray, and perhaps ask some friends or family to pray while you're having the meeting with your boss. Because, hey, better to ask and find out than to presume that the boss is going to say no. Hey, they might surprise you, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And to be honest, you can't help but have those micro expressions and micro
Mhm.
communications in the background if you're
Yeah.
not doing it. So if you're
Yeah.
just getting more and more frustrated and these sort of things, that will impact how you present yourself to the boss.
Mm.
Even when you're trying to not show it, it's better to have an honest and open conversation normally with a normal person, unless your boss is a tyrant.
Yeah.
Better to have that really good, positive, open, healthy conversation. Again, betting in that you're committed to the company long term. If it doesn't go my way, that's okay. but this is ideally what I'd like.
And hey, if the boss flies off the handle, if the boss is actually a tyrant, time to scrub up the CV, cv.co.nz, of course, the place to go for that. Tom, thank you for your wisdom and understanding. You'd be a great boss, just saying. And hey, thanks for joining us on the program today.
Look, a real pleasure. Just one last little thing.
Yep.
Very happy to offer just a little benefit to Rhema listeners. 10% off all our services.
Okay.
Weeks. So that's CVs, LinkedIn, career coaching, all those sort of things. So just email me, tom@cv.co.nz, and also give your CV a free assessment.
Thank you so much for that. And particularly if your boss is a bit of a tyrant, 10% off tom@cv.co.nz. Have I got that right?
That's perfect, mate. Thank you.
Tom, enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, God bless. Thanks so much for being on the show again.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.